He's flying. Yes, there's history.
Now in front, the crowd roaring, go, Monroe, go, but the 3-year-old in front, Delsayo, long way, he's coming, he's going to get there, yes, Longo won it. Proud by My Whisper won the last.
Welcome, punters, to another episode of the Whispers Racing Podcast, 24th of June, weekend of racing. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I'm flying solo. People listening, yes, you're going to only hear one voice this podcast. Maddie's unavailable, but she'll be back next week. So unlucky for some that love Maddie's tips, you're just going to have to put up with me. But yeah, we're back at Caulfield. So I'll be previewing races 2 and 5 from Caulfield. We're going to have a multi this week. Have more about that. And Pineapple of the Week, we will have it on socials, Twitter, TikTok, and if you're part of the community, well, they'll get that first. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel on YouTube or any podcast platform, please subscribe on YouTube. Especially if you're a Spotify listener, please subscribe and please rate us because we'd love to grow our channel to far and wide. And as I said, each and every week, we do this all for free, no paywalls at all. We do this for the love of it. So please subscribe and rate our podcast as a good gesture to us. If you would like to be part of our Whispers WhatsApp group, please email me or DM me and we'll put you straight through. Just a nice little tight community who love to have a punt on anything and everything. So yeah, if you're one of those and want to try it out for a week, come in and you can leave whenever you want. There's no hard feelings. It's good for some and some people it's not for them. So yeah, come out, check it out. It's been a good month for the community of the month of June. We are 25 units up for the month, betting on Saturdays majority. And yeah, we're seeing them quite well. And it's good to reward people that have, are in the community and following in. And you get Maddie's thoughts as well. And more importantly, you get to share your thoughts and, share your bets like most people do in the community. It's a good little community. Track stats, here we go, punters, something we've got to keep an eye on here. Rails True, back after a 7-month reno. Reports are the track is beautiful, and I've seen the photos, and geez, it looks nice and green. Looks like I'd love to play some cricket on it. But currently a soft 5. There's a little bit of rain around Thursday night, so check how much rain we get. Importantly, 25 to 40 kilometre northerly winds. That's a headwind into the chute along the side. Cover is a must, especially in those circle races. It might be hard to lead all the way. I'll be looking for horses just camped behind the leaders with a bit of cover. This is a meter we're going to have to tread very carefully and maybe chip down for this meeting and just try and watch more than betting because rain pending, rail could be off. Then what's the grass going to be like? Is it strong enough to hold and let horses stay on the inside, or will it chop right out and horses will have to come to the middle? So it's got to handle 9 races, fresh surface. Definitely going to have to watch an act, guys, because you could seriously do some dough if the track's not at 100%. But 7 months off, it's had plenty of time, so I'm tipping it's going to be strong. And the inside should be okay if there's no rain. But if there's rain, they'll definitely edge off that inside. And barriers 1 and 2 could be an absolute a no-go. So, guys, watch an act, please. And, tread carefully on a meeting like this. Trial trackers, none this week. There's a couple there. It was hard to find just one. But I'll talk about race 2 where there's a couple in there. And just for next week, we'll get them. This week, I threw out some questions out to the community that I run on WhatsApp, and I've got 3 questions here: 2 horse racing and 1 my opinion on someone. So, first question was from Michael: is there anything from this week's Royal Ascot meeting that will compete strongly and possibly win over the spring big races? Great question. Without knowing, Michael, what horses are coming out due to these lovely Vic protocols that we have, I'm tipping Sydney Carnival might get a few good international raters here. And in saying that, I can't go past the Tuesday night sprint race. A horse called Highfield Princess If this horse comes out to the Everest, I reckon it could be really competitive. Sits on speed, handles any conditions. I wonder if the first horse runs straight on Tuesday, does Highfield Princess go past it? I reckon it could have. If that was in Australia, it would have been a protest. More importantly, it's Spank Coolangatta, who we rate as a good horse. Now, remember, it won the Lightning Stakes, and I think it was the Moira as well. So if he can do that to Coolangatta, I reckon it could be really, really competitive in the Tab Everest. Currently $26 with TAB. It's pre-nom market. So check with them, ring them up, and see if the horse doesn't get a slot, do you get your money back? Now, I know they were running that last year, but $26 for a horse that spanked Coolangatta, who we believe is a good horse, I think that's a great price to have a little play. And if it gains a slot, I think it starts single digits, especially if it draws a good barrier. So $26, Highfield Princess. I think that's the one we'll be targeting for the Everest. I know that the slot holders were sniffing around, so let's see. $26. I reckon have something on it now, but please check with your betting provider if they do give you your money back on these pre-nom markets, because yeah, you could do your dough on some and then some you get your dough back. So double check. Highfield Princess Everest. Uh, Question number 2 was best Royal Ascot tip for the weekend. Well, I haven't got a tip for you there, Benny, but well, we could go Artorias. I love him to bits. We know what he did in the spring. We know what he did in Europe last year. If he holds that sort of form, I think he's going to be hard to beat on Saturday without knowing what it's up against. But I think it's up against Cannonball. Well, how did that go on Tuesday night? That was disgusting by Preble. But back to it, Artorias. Well, he's probably one of them. But I think there's a race that we can have a little talk about here, and I'm definitely going to stay up for on the Saturday night. It's going to be the Hardwick Stakes on Saturday night. It's got Duval Legend, Huckham, Pile Driver, and a couple more. But those are the three I want to really hone in on here. Duval Legend, we know how it went in the Melbourne Cup. How's the horse going to come back? Well, that's the question we're going to find out, and probably find out via their European TV. See how it's come back, because considering the horses that finished in front of him didn't do much in the autumn. Now, as I keep saying, how has this horse come back? If he brings his European form from last prep, he's going to be really competitive. But yeah, it's got to be some sort of concern, considering how bad the ones from the Melbourne Cup have gone that have finished in front of him. Huckham has great form and has beaten without a fight, and we know how it's gone in the Brisbane Carnival. Probably not the greatest form lines used in Brisbane Winter Carnival against a European horse, but yeah, it's just if you want to know how this horse is, well, he's beaten without a fight, and we know what he's done Brisbane Carnival. Pile Driver, the third one we'll talk about. Last year beat Misdrift, Broome, Westover, Emily Upjohn. There's some serious horses in Europe. But Huckham has beaten Pile Driver by 4 lengths last year. It's a great race. So I'm probably going to lean with Huckham at this stage, knowing what it's done, what it can do. And yeah, Artorias, Dr. Obvious here, but yeah, Artorias and Huckham in the Hardwick Stakes. And Benny, you rounded it off with a real different questions here. Out of 10, how much of a flock is Jerome Luai? Well, if you've been living under a rock and you haven't seen what he tweeted overnight, and yeah, the media blew up in Sydney SEN today, I'll have to give him a 10. He's right up there with one of the biggest flogs I've seen without seeing any proof of what he's saying or alleged he's saying. You can't be putting that on social media saying, hey, I'll enjoy work tomorrow, saying that he doesn't have to and all that sort of stuff. The media blew right up here in the NRL country. So, yeah, they didn't like it too much. So they've fired up. Now, Jerome Lumai's claimed to have a death threat, and that's what it was aimed at. But put that aside, he's the most overpaid player I've seen in the NRL. He walks around like a flog, so I have to keep him a 10 for that. And it's hard to say because I am a Penrith man, but he walks like a flog, acts like a flog, and he is 10 out of 10 a flog. So, Benny, hopefully that rounds out your question, and hopefully you agree. So, guys, if you want to post a question, hit me up. I'll read it out. Yeah, we might not agree, but hey, it's what's good about our industry and so many thoughts and so many opinions. And yeah, let's share them. So if you got a question for me, fire them in and I'll answer them on air if they're suitable or they're good. Um, so previewing races 2 and 5. We'll kick things off here. Race 2, the 3-year-old over 1,000 meters. Now it does say just a 3-year-old race, but this is basically I'm rating it as a benchmark 70. That's something we've got to keep very careful and in our minds when doing this. Favorite here, Katsu 270, Bubbly Palace 550, Flying on a Limb 6, Epic Center 860, Penthouse $10, Clock Strikes 12, Bahama Bay 17, and Ortega $23. Speed map. I think there's a bit of pace. There's a lot of pace here, I should say. Clock Strides, Penthouse, Epic Center, Katsu, Bubble Palace all will want to find the front. Who's going to give up and who's going to take off? I think Clock Strides might take a sit. I've got him mapped out wide, but he could really take a sit midfield here, leaving Penthouse, Epic Center leading. I think Bubbly Palace might just take a little sit with Katsu, considering the wins. Flying on a Limb, 2-kilo apprentice on board. He's got a decision to make because if the rail's on, he's going to be stuck on the rail, and that is a huge concern. Katsu been good first 2 starts his prep and his prep. He looked the winner last start with 50 meters to go, got swamped late. Run was fine, I reckon. And then next start, he was in a 3-year-old handicap race, which was a benchmark 70 maximum. Then walked into a listed grade race. Last start, as I said, now back to a 70. Went back to the jump outs, went super. I feel they may take a sit here behind the leaders with that wind. Deserves to be favourite, but if you liked him last start, I think you can go again because that was an open listed race. Now he's back to a 70, back to his own age. Deserves to be favourite. Be interesting to see how he goes. Bubble Palace and Flying on a Limb came out of the same race at Sandown. Flying on a Limb gave Bubble Palace windburn, I reckon. Off that run, why are they the same price? Doesn't make sense to me. Yes, Bubble Palace drops 4 kilos, and that might take effect, but it's a 1,000-meter race. I don't think weights are a worry at that sort of distance. So if you think he can turn the tables with a weight differential of 4 kilos, he might be your horse, but I don't think so. The only reason it has to be based off the map and jockey engagement here. Flying on a Limb, barrier 1. Luke Williams claiming 2, who is a nice jockey, but I don't know if he has the talent to get this horse out of trouble from barrier 1. He could be in a lot of trouble, but geez, there's a concern. And then you got to look at Bubble Palace, barrier 2, Bo Mertens gets the perfect map. So that's where I think why we're getting the same price. Big differential last start at Sandown, now evens up. Is it weight? Is it map? Is it jockey ability? Interesting. The interesting runner I have in this race is Ortega. Has jumped out really well. And if it was in a maiden race, this would be $1.70 pop. This horse jumped out well in its first campaign and was 17s into 2s into early betting. Mark Zara gave it no chance. This horse will probably out the back and running on strong. And I think it's the Black Booker of the meeting, goes to a maiden and wins at an unbackable price. That's Ortega. But in saying all that, I've got Flying on a Limb on top here. But I've got to be watching this race with my hands on my face. And this could be a sick watch. But if it gets out, I think it explodes and races away from this field. Just watch what it did last start under hands and heels. Gave Bubble Palace windburn. Katsu deserves to be favourite. Not going to take him on it whatsoever. But if the inside's good and Luke Williams camps behind the leaders and only has to get out by one horse, I think he wins. But if he's 2 back the rail, oh, God, it could be a bad watch. But, yeah, Flying on a Limb on top. We move over to race 5 here, which is the 3-year-olds over the 1,400 metres. As I get the prices up here. So we've got the favourite here is Hazel Baby, $4.20. Lounge Bar Ruby, $6.75. Another Ponzi, $8. Redmond, $11. Crown Crusher, $13. Magnus Spin, $14. Michelotti, $15. Then you can have $16 the rest. Interesting race here because a lot of the pace is on the outside here with Redmond, another Ponzi, Rylov, and even King Neptune might hunt up for the lead here. If those horse hunt up for the lead, it'll give Hazel Bay, Magnus Spin, and Eye of the Eagle good runs in transit. Even Lounge Bar Ruby, depending on what they do, Castilian as well, they can really hunt up as well, find nice spots. In saying that, I've got Hazel Bay on top here. Should get a good run in transit. Loved its last start, second to extra two. I think that horse is talented, but what it did, I think it's a good horse. Came from the rear, came from near last on a day that I felt you had to be up there in running. Been a really good prep. Might read, may read harder, but this is a low rating 3-year-old race. One little key here. Carleen Heffel goes on board and gets under the minimum with her 2-kilo claim. I think that's a little hidden gem then. Anything under the minimum, give him an extra tick. In saying all that, I won't be shocked if it starts with a 3 in front of it or even a 2. That's Hazel Bay. Michelotti here, I think it was a good run at Mornington. Thought the jockey could have asked for a bit more out of the horse instead of waiting. I think it was just a weird ride, but this horse will be winning a race this prep. Don't know about Saturday, considering it will be last when cornering, but geez, it'll be flying home. And yeah, I think the horse is in for a nice prep. So put that in your black bookers now, Michelotti. Redmond, well, he's coming across from New Zealand, coming out of a good race, only beaten 3 lengths by Prowess and Pier. If it brings that form, it can win. Last start, it was a tough win over 1,200 metres, never gave up, leading all the way. New Zealand horses have burnt me in the past if you're a regular listener, so it's hard to tip him, but I can see why this horse is in the market. If it finds the front, it should be fine. Being gelded, tongue tie goes on, and yeah, it can definitely win. Crown Crusher, Crimo, Shack Attack were all good last start, and if they're running on Saturday, these horses can win. But wide barriers meaning they'll have to go back means that they could be tough being that far back in running. Nice horses, but I'm keen to be with Hazel Bay. Around the grounds, I haven't got anything. It's really tight meeting, so it's hard to find something around the grounds. But if you're part of the community, I will be betting around the ground later on the Saturday. So please get involved. Hit me up if you want to get involved. And yeah, you can get all my thoughts and Maddie's thoughts as well. Multi. I've had a bit of help from the community. I've chucked it out there just due to not liking too much this weekend. So I've got 3 guys that have put their bets out there. So one of them has been Sam. He has put in Eagle Farm, race 5, Mr. Yushu the place. Then we had Phil said Morfordville, race 7, number 6, John Quest the place. And then Timmy said Pike in the last, top of the pops the place. So that's Eagle Farm, race 5, Mr. Yushu. Morfordville, race 7, John Quest the place. Belmont, race 9, top of the pops the place. That comes to $26.42. If this lobs, these 3 will be doing the multi throughout the whole year because, yeah, that's a massive, massive multi. So, yeah, with that 3-leg multi. Last week we went 2 legs. Me and Maddie went fine, and yeah, the footy one killed us in the last leg. But that's okay. We go again. Pineapple of the week. Maddie will post that on in the community first. So if you want to be part of the community, get involved. Good time to get involved. If not, it'll be up on social Saturday, and yeah, we'll go from there. Thank you all for watching. I know it was short and different this week. It'll be back to normal next week as we start to look at the spring races. They're coming along quick and fast. So thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and yeah, have a great weekend.
I'm not a good person, but it just goes to show that good things do happen to bad people. So anyone out there who's up against the wall, fucking stick to it. Every cent you got, your rent, your electricity bill, if you're going to buy your missus a ring, don't fucking do it. Keep punting. Keep fucking punting.